I just want to start off by saying congratulations on Runt. I was one of those people that got to watch it pre-MIF as well, and it was one of those films where everybody walked out of the screening absolutely loving it. So congratulations on being part of such an amazing film.
Oh, that's great to hear. Thank you very much.
Now, Matt, your character, you play the villain, and you play that villain so well. Tell us a little bit about Fergus as a character.
Fergus is kind of like the embodiment of overconfidence, I think. He is flamboyant, ambitious, ruthless, willing to do anything to win the agility course.
So, it's such an interesting character as well because he's such an over-the-top character. Just tell us what it was like for you getting to play a character like that. Were you basically given full reign to do whatever you liked with the character?
I kind of was. I mean, John just said, you can never be too big. Just really go for it. He just wanted, he was kind of like a lot of the kind of villains that we grew up with as kids. I was thinking of, because it comes from a book. It's, Craig Silvey's book, Runt, but it was kind of a bit of a Roald Dahl villain was what I had in mind when I kind of stepped into it. You could not be too big. And once I had my first fitting, it all kind of came together. Once I saw that, the gold sequin costume, it was like, okay, so he's this guy, There was no going back from there.
So how do you look into that character as well? Do you go back and do you read Craig's original source with the novel? Do you go by just what's in the script? How do you play a character that's already exists?
Both, really. Yeah, I read the book, and then it's really just what's on the page of the script. I mean, it was a great script. It was all there, in Craig's writing. So it wasn't that hard to do. The hardest bit was just getting through the agility course without pulling a hammy.
Yeah.
that was the hardest bit for me. Really had to warm up. Had to remember to warm up.
Yeah, it's a style of acting that we don't get to see very often these days as well. Like, it was kind of reminiscent of John Cleese and actors like that.
That's great. I love that you said that.
Was it fun for you as well, like getting to play a character like that is so vaudeville and over the top?
Oh, absolutely. That's probably the most fun I've had on camera, really. I mean, it was just, there was nothing that was too big. It was just, kind of tapped into my exhibitionist side. So yeah, it was a joy to kind of play this guy. It was, I think there should be a spin-off, the Fergus Fink movie.
an origin story. I'd love to see how he got that way.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, you're probably sick of this question, but they say never work with children or animals. What was it like getting to work with, first of all, such an amazing cast, but also getting to work with dogs as well, because that's always tough, but also working with Lily. How was that for you?
Well, from my side, it was great. Like, the kids were excellent. They seemed to be having a great time. They were really fantastic little actors, I've got to say. And I really got along with all of them. Lily was great to work with. She's just a natural. And I've got to say, my dog Chariot was pretty good too. She did everything she was meant to do and didn't misbehave much, and would come most of the time out from under her trailer, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it wasn't too bad for me from my point of view.
Yeah. When you're playing the villain like that as well, what's the relationship like with like a younger cast member like Lily? Because of course she's got her on-screen parents there, and I guess that's a very different relationship to you, who's the villain in the piece. Do you, as an actor, approach that differently with the way that you interact with her and make her see that you're not a threat kind of thing?
Well, I don't think she ever saw me as a threat. I think the hardest thing that she had to do getting through scenes with me was not laughing.
Yeah.
Because often I would do a take, I'd look down and there'd be this little smile on her face because they were just trying not to crack up with this ridiculous man in the sequin suit with the pencil moustache and the giant hair. So I don't know if I was actually that scary in the end.
Yeah. Was it something that you thought about, though, like playing the villain in a family movie? Because it was something I never ever thought about until a few years ago. I heard Michael Rosenbaum, the actor, talking about playing Lex Luthor in Smallville, and he said that whenever there was a fan day or they would go to a cancer ward in a children's hospital to meet children who were fans of the show, everybody would warm to Tom Welling, who played Superman, but there was often kids that were terrified of him or they would start crying. Was it something that you thought about, like playing a villain in a family film?
No, I drink children's tears. No, I never. No, it hadn't occurred to me. But when the offer came through, I was like, oh, okay. So I'm moving into the villain stage of my career. Okay, well, that's a good thing. I think there's always room to grow when you're the bad guy.
I was going to say that often the bad guy is the one that's most remembered from a film as well. Was that something that you thought that was an interesting thing as well, that this might be a character that is remembered a long time after the film ends?
Well, that's the hope. That's always the hope. Yeah. You always hope that, you can be the next Darth Vader.
Yeah. So, I guess going back to getting into the character as well, I know we had Craig on our show a few weeks ago, and Craig was talking a lot about his vision for the film. Was that handy for you, having the writer there attached to the project so well that you were able to go back and have long discussions with him about the character as well?
Yeah, it was great to have Craig around. He did such a great job with the screenplay, so there wasn't that much discussion to be had. It was all fairly much there in the page. And like I said, once the costume design came through and the hair and makeup, it all kind of came together fairly well. And the production design was amazing as well. So it was one of those ones where it just kind of all came together. Without too much fuss, which is always nice. And I got to spend some time with Craig too and pick his brains about his writing process and how he kind of works on that, which is always interesting for me. But yeah, it was a pretty easy. It kind of came together pretty easily. Like I said, once I got those Cuban heels on, I knew who I was.
I said when I first started talking about this film that I got the feeling this is going to become an iconic Australian film. What were your first thoughts when you sat down and read the screenplay?
Well, I think it was the same that everyone has, which was, kids and animals.
Yeah.
How are they going to do this? How are they going to shoot this? This is very ambitious, and it is hugely ambitious. That aside, I just thought it was a great story. I was like, it's one of those ones where it's a good story where you feel like, it's just it has a kind of timeless quality to it.
Yeah.
It just hits all the right notes, but in a different way. It's kind of an old thing, but in a new form, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
But I was just excited. I just thought, I haven't seen something like this for a long time. Coming out of Australia. I guess maybe Red Dog, but I don't know if that was the same kind of thing. But anyway, it was just a really nice read, and I was just really happy to get involved in it.
There's a very unique feel to this film as well. It's a very Dad and Dave kind of feel, going back like to something older like that, but and almost like a Babe quality as well. Did that come across in the screenplay?
Yeah, it did. It did come across. I think Babe is an interesting kind of touchstone. Excuse me. Yeah, I thought it had the potential to be something like that, because I think that there is something in there for everyone as well. And I think, I just hope that Australian audiences just, kind of take the opportunity to go see, an Australian family film, really. That's the thing that kind of excites me most about it.
Yeah. The director too, John Sheedy, we all learnt what a talented director he is with H is for Happiness. What was he like to work with on Runt?
He was great. I'd worked with John the year before. We did a series for the ABC called In Our Blood. So I was just amazed that he, having worked with me once, wanted to do it again. But we got along really well. And he's a fantastic director, and he just kind of keeps his cool and just keeps the ship moving and just keeps everyone, focused on what needs to be done, and has a great sense of humour, which is really important when you're working with kids and animals on a film this big. But always available for John.
One of the feelings I had when this film ended was that this is not the end of this story, and Craig pretty much said the other day when he was on our show that he would love to see this story go on as well. Do you think there's room for Fergus to come back if there is more to Runt?
Absolutely. I think what we need is a spin-off, like a Fergus origin story.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mentioned before about making Lily laugh. With your performance, though, being so over the top, how difficult was that for you to rein in the laughter as well? But also, the facial expressions and stuff you pull are amazing. That's where I think the vaudeville side comes in. Were you making people laugh left, right, and centre on set?
I think so. I don't know. I was just trying not to pass out because it was like Perth, 40 degrees. I'm wearing a black suit and, like I said, running an agility course, for 10 takes. So a lot of it was just trying to kind of stay on my feet.
Yeah.
But you don't really know. I think everyone's just concentrating on what they're doing at the time. I mean, we did get a good reaction when we did the first run of the course. And we had all the extras in the stands, and I did the first run, and then they all stood up and applauded, which they weren't meant to do. And I thought, okay, this could be good. I could be onto something here.
I was actually wondering if they would have booed, because it's the kind of character, like, if on stage that kids would boo, but there was applause instead.
Yeah. Well, I just think they were amazed that I managed to get through it.
Well, Matt, I know we are running out of time very, very quickly, so I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who are heading along to see Runt? Because I feel this is a film that you can take your grandparents to, you can take your parents to, kids will love as well. What would you like to say to families out there who are about to head along and check out Runt?
Just take the whole family and just enjoy it and sit back and let it wash over you. I think it's a great experience, and I think, I just hope that it kind of it finds its place in the Australian canon, really.